I haven't double checked it, maybe I've typoed something, but I'm pretty sure it'll be in that order. It's not usually very wrong. But it's last hero standing. Maybe it was APAC and they had all the counter druids because it's APAC or something like that happened. Hard to know without getting into it further. But what I do know is I agree with you here that this is a chance for Impact just to go straight through the lineup.
Yeah, it's not a free win by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel with current builds of both like Priest and Mage especially, that Weapon Rogue should just crush them unless they're running an Ooze. Obviously, Weapon Rogue is a deck that can beat itself more often than their opponent beats it, especially in the good matchups, if you just never draw a weapon. But like, let's say in Priest first, as an example, it's just about keeping the board under control in the early game and then setting up for massive burst in the later stages of the game. If there's no Ooze, you can just build your weapon as big as you want. It does rely on some help because there's with how many weapon buffs you run naturally in the deck, even if you hold on to all of your stuff, you still can deal 30 points of damage, even if all your poisons go on a single weapon in a single turn. But the Wand Makers can help if they find additional poisons or Sinister Strikes. And sometimes you can just get so far ahead that it doesn't really matter for you to be able to deal that much damage in a single turn.
Yep, and I've played this side of the Priest a lot in this matchup, and honestly, I'd rather play against Warlock. I think this is slightly easier for the Priest to win than the Warlock match, but honestly, you do so little as the Priest, and then you just fold up and die. Like, you might heal up a couple of times, and maybe you'll Zyrella at board away and feel really good about yourself until they hit you for 17 with their weapon the next turn or something ridiculous. With a stab and a strike thrown in, maybe. And then they've got this weapon that's going to do you for another 10 next turn, and you just can't stop it. It is a miserable matchup for the Priest to play. Not just in percentage chance of winning, but in options. It doesn't get to do anything, which is, of course, why it's such a good matchup, I guess.
Yeah, there's a couple things that we can talk about. I think this is okay. I thought it was going to be prep, brain freeze, secret passage, look for weapon. That was my initial thought. But because Impact had already drawn 3 out of his minions, he was a 50-50 to hit Mancrick there.
Right.
And that would have been perfect mana utilization. So I like that he pivoted because of that, and he can secret passage next turn and look for the weapon. Because board really only matters up until this point in this game. Your minions, right? Because at a certain point, you don't really want to play minions because then that gives your opponent the ability to like Apotheosis and trade in, or Apotheosis Hysteria, heal off of your minions, which is never something you want.
This is
well, at least he gets Olgra.
Sure. That was a horrible secret passage.
I mean, they're all horrible unless you hit weapon. Like, if you don't have weapon in secret passage, you're hitting poisons and cutting classes and wicked stabs and sinister strikes or weapons. That's it. So sometimes you can get like Swindle, but he's already played a Swindle. So I think that, you know, all things considered, like outside of just hitting a weapon, Olga was the second best secret passage you could have hoped for.
Seems like a fairly easy thrive. I guess that they're all rubbish, though. Maybe he wants to focus Will so that if he gets a Sethek, he can do some shenanigans at that end. Try and generate some more healing, maybe.
I don't know.
It's one of those marginal decisions that you can spend forever discussing, and probably they're all just rubbish.
Yeah. Holy Nova's healing.
Quickly.
Yep. Nothing to initiate. Rally's okay if you've had that sort of start, which he hasn't had.
Oh, Flash Heal is fantastic.
Eaves it in now.
All right, if this secret passage doesn't hit a weapon...
That's not a weapon. That's not a weapon. Guess what?
Oh, but it's the bad one.
It's the bad one, but at least he can start drawing cards, right?
Yes, and I think self-sharpening sword, especially in this matchup, Silverleaf Poison is the only poison you're using on that weapon.
Right.
Unless you absolutely have to, because you just will run out of damage if you start putting poisons on anything but the Swine Tushing.
Well, every turn now he's sort of a decent chance to pick it up. He's under no immediate threat. Obviously, the threat is the healing and not the fact he's going to die or anything. So every time the priest gets to hero power, that's bad for you. But you'd think he'd rip the weapon sooner rather than later, except in some pretty fringe circumstances now. This is another of the problems you have when you're playing this from the priest side, is you feel like you want to do something a little bit proactive to stop all this from happening, and you can't. You just don't want this to carry on.
Whoa.
Gonna Apotheosis Holy Nova by the look of this. That's wasting healing.
I think he's gonna Soul Mirror if he's gonna coin.
Sure.
I mean, this is the best that Soul Mirror is going to get, because there's only one minion left in the deck. There's only a Prize Plunderer left in the deck, I believe. Yeah, there's one Prize Plunderer left in the deck, and that's it. So I guess, like in that case, right, if Soul Mirror's never getting better, you might as well just get it out of your hand now.
I mean, I said I wanted to do something proactive, but maybe Impact does 4 damage to a minion instead of your face now. Now you've done this, it's possible.
Yeah.
But
and honestly, he doesn't necessarily want this minion to die either, because he wants the... Whoa, okay.
Shouldn't Impact know there's Apotheosis there now?
How so?
From the previous play being so weird.
I don't necessarily...
Okay. Well, in that case, he's setting up, getting on for lethal, close to lethal, so okay.
No Hands, though, has still a ton of healing. Can Apotheosis trade Holy Nova? Even though the Desperate Prayer
is terrifying. Do you want 2 minions, or do you want a nice, healthy Apotheosis minion? Because you can Apotheosis... I guess you want 2. It doesn't get coerced.
Move quickly.
This is fine, yeah.
Let's get Flesh Shrine down. Alright, well the good thing for Impact is that he does have double Cloak of Shadows, so the Apotheosis won't be doing much, but... I mean, he's just gonna start running out of damage real quickly now. He only has 1 swing left. Has put so many poisons on this self-sharpening sword.
Right.
Okay. I don't think he need... Okay.
He's going to weave in the Sinister Strike because he's expecting to draw next turn a lot of cards that he wants to play. If you're no hands, you have to just max heal everything here and I hope it all goes away.
Yep, more healing with Holy Nova. At this point, that's all that really matters, I think.
But is there any damage left? There's 2 stabs both left in the deck and nothing else, I think?
Yeah, I mean, Impact's all in on trying to draw stabs over the next couple turns. Yeah, don't ignore the stabs. It's the first time I'm going to say this, but he's got 2 stabs, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And in the worst case, I mean, the weapon never gets there, so because it doesn't even beat the healing. So yeah.
Well, he could swing and then load up the Swine Shank with the remainder of the poisons. He's got 1 Cloak of Shadows left. He could even... nah, you can't get greedy. I was going to say, if he feels like he's in a desperate situation, needs to buy 2 turns, he could just coerce the Apotheosis minion.
Okay.
Take the risk that Apotheosis would be there.
Okay. He might have to do that. He doesn't have to do it for this turn, but he might have to do it next turn.
Now he can, if he really wants to, he can double coerce and save the Cloak of Shadows. But looks like he's just going to try and set up for lethal next turn. So he will be... He's not guaranteed the Wicked Stab. Both Wicked Stabs next turn.
He needs to do 14 plus whatever this Scorpid gives him.
Yeah, he's just looking for raw healing here.
Thrive? Can't play...
Thrive... I mean, there's no healing in the deck. He could Thrive for Palm Reading and then try and hit Palm Reading, but like Apotheosis isn't healing. Maybe you go for Auspicious Spirits and try and hit like the Injured Marauder.
Sure.
Taunt, but he knows that there's a Coerce left, so that doesn't do anything either. So the last 4 cards for Impact are Swine Shank, Dead Draw, Prize Plunder, and Wicked Stabs. Best off the top is Wicked Stab, because then the Swindle will draw the 2nd Wicked Stab.
Yeah.
And he needs both of that damage now.
That's where he's at.
Yeah. So he needs Wicked Stab off the top, essentially. It's a 50-50. Because if he hits it, he wins. If he hits Wicked Stab off the top. 50-50!
No!
Nope.
The one time ever that a rogue didn't want to draw the weapon. And the other Apotheosis is now in hand for no hands. That's what he did last turn.
Yeah.
Because without that, he could die.
Excited.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's got a double Coerce here to try and reduce the amount of damage from Apotheosis.
Yeah. Does that work? So the Apotheosis will heal for 4? So it will only cancel out this swing. So next turn, Impact will be 2 short. 14. And because no hands can heal face, he'll be on 16.
Yeah, and he has exactly 16 damage.
I'm almost out of cards.
Wow.
And now he has exactly 10 damage. I don't know. Okay, I don't think this matters. Well, it could in Devouring Plague. So if he has Devouring Plague, he'd heal for 1 more. Hero Power and then Apotheosis. Oh, Power Infusion! Oh!
2 more healing.
Yeah, the Prize Plunder does make a difference, because if Devouring Plague were to come out, it would just be 1 healing, and then by taking out the 2 power, he gives 1 less healing over from Apotheosis. So, I mean, I think Impact did all he could. That's just a...
Stab at the bottom.
He had the 50-50 chance for lethal in that instance. And, I mean... I called this a good matchup, and Impact ended up losing, but a lot had to go wrong for him to lose, and a lot had to go right for No Hands. It felt like almost every discovery he had got him healing. He got Desperate Prayer, he got a flash heal, He had both his Renews at the top. He had double Holy Nova, and was able to find both his Apotheosis and get value out of both his Apotheosis at the end there. And also needed healing from that last Discover of the Palm reading, and hit honestly a minion buff or healing in that case, which is like 50% of pre-spells. What was enough.
And Impact's bottom 4 cards included 2 stabs and the weapon that he looked for the whole game. Like his secret passages were garbage early on. Like it looks like he was correctly identified that he could go for it by playing the bad weapon, and just nearly got there. He got himself into the situation where he just turn after turn just needed a little bit of luck and just never got it, with the stab being right at the bottom and the fetch being near the bottom as well.
Yeah. It was rough. That was very rough. Yeah. The turn he went off with the self-sharpening sword was the turn that he drew the Swine Tusk Shank. So just kind of unfortunate all around. Even through all that, still had a chance to win at the end. 50-50 chance to draw the Wicked Stab. So kind of rough. But got to move on. Honestly, that's a huge win for No Hands, because Weapon Rogue was quite obviously the worst deck for pretty much all of his lineup to
every
face.
chance.
Right? I think that was three favorables for Impact.
Yeah.
And good recognition by him to ban the Druid to give himself the best chance to sweep at that Rogue. But now it's eliminated right off the bat as a huge blow, because now Impact's got Mage and Priest left, which again, I think 2 of the strongest decks in the metagame currently. But in Last Hero Standing, sometimes that's not enough, because you need like these targeted strategies. If you beat your opponent once with a deck, then they get to pick which of their remaining decks they want to face that deck with. So we'll see if Impact can win some unfavorables himself. This one may not necessarily be so. Priest versus Mage is, I think, a pretty contested matchup.
Yeah.
It's all about those flows, baby.
The Mage is probably slightly favoured. There'll be a lot of arguments both directions on there. And for the longest time, I thought the Priest was favoured, and they are now playing... Actually, I need to check the exact build, but I think they're now playing the Giants, which makes it a lot worse for the Mage. Let me just check No Hands what he's got exactly in here. So yeah, he does have the double Giant, but he doesn't have the double 4/9, so that's kind of a wash, I guess. Oh yeah, kind of slightly favoured, but basically a 50-50 in terms of you're playing it once, good luck.
You don't pick the ones, see?
Oh!
Easy! Oh, that card is so good.
He's just good.
Some people felt it had to be nerfed, but it wasn't. Now Impact is abusing that fact to make all of his spells cost nothing. Like being in Europe all over again.
It certainly is. Alright, sure. See what's in the room door first. It's free! Whoa! Oh!
Yay!
What in the world?
Even Impact's feeling like it. But to be fair, Impact deserves a little bit of luck this game, because the last game was the polar opposite of this.
Now, but now the pressure's on for Impact, because if Impact loses this, holy moly.
Yep. Then we're all taking to Twitter, right? Even me. Look at this 2-mana Spring Water. That's so cheap. So he draws another Spring Water, which is also cheap.
Gosh.
Uh-huh. Now he's drawn his whole deck. Well. I think Impact's in a good position, TJ. That's what I'm going to analyze right now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's not hot takes. You're not forced to take the other side, unfortunately for me.
This is a decent start for Impact. We'll see if he can get there. I mean, like, the hardest part for Impact is spending enough mana to actually make refreshing spring water worthwhile. Like, to actually get full value out of it. That's like the hardest part of it, the deck right now.
Oh, 0 mana Arcane Intellect. Now there's a card.
1 mana Ring Toss. Also difficult, corrupting the Ring Toss. I guess he just has Combustion to be able to do that.
But yeah, because all your other cards cost 0, your Ring Toss is impossible to corrupt normally. Obviously all the Combustions and the Mask even. Good Scrolls.
Fireball, nice. More burn.
Impact's not of the belief.
Time runs out on me.
Let's draw a couple more cards. Sure. Shooting Stars can just throw that out. Why not?
Yep. You'll go, Priest. My goodness. If Impact hadn't had that first game, he'd be really worried now as to what on earth is going to go wrong to counterbalance this. But game 1 already did that for him, so we're kind of back on track. No-Hands Giant just looks a little bit slow, doesn't it? I'm not convinced by this Priest deck at all. This isn't a go at No-Hands in particular. This actual Giants build of Priest, I just think it's not that good. We've seen a lot of players go to this Giants build and then come away from it again. Now, admittedly, last week was Specialist, so the Giants build had a lot more flexibility because you could take the Giants out and put in different things after game 1 if it didn't do its job. And obviously, in its last hero standing, you can still give your Giants a job, but I just feel that people who play this deck stop playing it quite quickly.
I still think it's pretty good. One of the things that you often struggle with Priest is just trying to stick a minion on board and weave it into all the rest of your removal outside of just like a big dragon.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it's still a good deck. I just think that other Priest decks, personally, I think other Priest decks are better. Just to be clear here. And it's very interesting that in the Americas region, it's definitely far more liked than in the other 2 regions. Okay. Incredibly, this game is still going.
I mean, it's only turn 7.
Yeah. Impact's had 6 turns, and he's fired 27 cards off it. His opponent has 10 left in. Yeah.
Yeah. Impact just ashing in his 1 mana 7 damage.
Yeah, gotta weave those in. Weave in the 7.
Yeah. This turn he's probably just gonna cash in on a Mask of Cthulhu for 8 damage. Or for 10 damage, yeah. And then double Fireball next turn should end things. Double Fireball ping should end things. I don't think he's getting past. What is he? How much does he even have to heal for? Like 10?
Yeah. The problem with double Fireball ping is you float a mana. I mean, you kill your opponent, but I don't like floating mana.
Maybe he'll pick up like a 1 mana ring just to go along with it so he doesn't float the mana.
Combust his own minion, maybe. Yeah. Can somebody tell No Hands that this decision is the most irrelevant decision of all of the times? Impact's had 7 pretty good Hearthstone turns here, TJ.
I don't even know. I mean, No Hands is just dead.
No, we're supposed to try and find a way out. It's our job. He could generate a time machine to go back to before Impact drew Flow.
Yeah. I mean, Impact needs 3 damage here. Wonder if he can muster it. Showed him the discovered one too. Like, yeah, bud, it really wasn't this at all. All right. Game 2 in the books. We're tied up. Impact, though, used up. Oh yeah, used up his all of his Encanters flows for the series, all 3 of them in a single game. You don't get to see that very often, but just kind of showing why Mage is still an incredibly strong deck. I mean, we've seen Mage sweeps, even with the nerf to Refreshing Spring Water. I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like it's done that much to the deck. No. It just gives Mage players a reason to throw away another card in the mulligan to try and look for Encanters Flow. Because in the past you're like, maybe I'll keep Refreshing Spring Water because it's really good. And now it's like, Refreshing Spring Water is still really good, but Encanters Flow now feels even better. So I'll mulligan for that one. So we'll see, because Mage, you can never really count it out in any matchup. Obviously, OTK Demon Hunter has time, because Mage still needs time to piece together all that damage, right, to kill you. And OTK Demon Hunter does have ways to heal up, and OTK Demon Hunter is a deck that can also kill you by like turn 7. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here for No Hands. I know he's been practicing a lot of OTK Demon Hunter as of late. Been watching him stream the deck. So he's been trying to learn the ins and outs, knowing that it's a very powerful bring in Last Hero Standing. So we'll see if he can take a win against Mage.
Some interesting things about this decision to play against the Mage. First of all, he didn't cue the mirror, so you would imply immediately that he thinks this is favoured, which I actually do too. But secondly, it means that he maybe doesn't want to put it into Impact's remaining Priest, which would mean he thinks it's unfavoured, which I'm not sure I agree with. Even though we know that you can Mind Render and win the game as the Priest, if you don't do that, you don't win. If you check out stats sites, they will tell you that the Priest is favoured about 55%, give or take. No Hands wants to avoid that. He wants to go with this, so fair enough. But you've got to be very precise. And also, get the skull on the left, like he's done, is a big deal.
Yeah, great opening hand, and Impact missed the Encanters Flow this game, so...
Yeah, and also missed the good minions as well. Sometimes you just play some minions against the Demon Hunter, make them mess around, and then beat them with the burn. But the messing around won't be happening.
You're paying for my discretion.
One of the things about OTK Demon Hunter is, especially with Skull on the far left, dumping cards from hand before you get to the point where you really need to dump cards, actually good, because it means you're spending that mana now. That Ethereal Aug Merchant is sort of a luxury when it comes to like actually doing the combo. You don't need it, especially in this matchup where you do have the time to kind of get to the point where you don't have to play it.
Yeah, we saw that with Killing earlier as well, that play that was inefficient compared to the one we'd seen that was lovely and efficient, but was inefficient because he needed to dump cards, and then he top-decked the Skull and had space to put those cards. So yeah, these players always thinking that far ahead, or at least using known strategy to keep that hand empty. Impact's having a bit of a nightmare here.
Yeah, this is not the hand you want.
I think you have to play the One Thief, because you've got to keep the coin, because you want to get this Raz on the board, or Apexis Blast, or both, in that order.
Yeah.
So you don't want to overdraw, because if you overdraw a piece of burn, your world just gets much, much tougher in Mage, because you draw so many cards. So yeah, he's had to play just a One Thief for no reason.
Yeah, that's really the only one that's worthwhile here.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I guess 24 is key. I would like to bump into the One Thief here, but that's because I can see what's coming next turn.
True mastery takes dedication.
Though it doesn't seem like it makes that big of a difference.
I guess. Right, this is your turn. How's your whole game going to pan out? It's based on this.
All right.
It's cooking.
Yeah.
Enough reduced
Now,
pieces there that the expensive Moags won't matter too much. Now he's just got to survive.
Yep, now he's just got to survive. He's an Il'gynoth away from essentially winning the game. He needs 7 mana, and a minion on the other side of the board.
Yeah, the mage going pretty slowly. But getting there, like that double fireballs to be respected into mask. That's a lot of damage on turns 7 and 8. Or mask into double fireball, sorry. Quite irritating to deal with even this one rush, to be fair.
Yeah, he can feel free to pretty much dump as much as he wants.
Yeah.
And he can dump this too. Go for the healing, remove the board because he has free Fellscreen Blast, double Moarg, and Talented Arcanist. Even a full cost Il'gynoth at this point, he just needs 8 mana to be able to do all that, which is definitely doable, especially considering he still has ways to fight back if Impact were to go for some type of board push.
Yeah.
With the Altruis.
At the moment, No Hands has even got the board. Like, it's not going to last long, but it's going to eat up Impact's mana to deal with it, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
So, you probably Apex Blast this thing for 10, just because it's funny. And more importantly, because it's sort of on curve and going to work.
What to do? What to do?
We hunger for vengeance.
The thing with the Moags is you have to kill them. Because otherwise you might just lose next turn to...
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, and he would. If Il'gynoth was picked up, he would if he didn't kill this, so... And as soon as you have to start throwing damage at minions, you're in a rough spot. And Combustion, Piercing Shot, all those things. The Moarg's the only minion that takes extra damage in that case. Combustion only acts as the Combustion. It doesn't work in, like, oh, well, this Combustion deals 5 damage, so Moarg would double it to 10, so 5 damage would be splashed. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool. It did. This can still go wrong for NoHands. He's got no card draw in hand. It doesn't usually go wrong because there's so many ways of either getting, like drawing it immediately the card draw or creating card draw that it shouldn't go wrong. But he's on some sort of 3-turn clock here. He can't get it done with the minions. He does have to combo, so I guess we shouldn't be writing it off too soon, just in case he whiffs.
Does Rustwix change anything?
I see.
I don't think so, because all the high rolls are like Solarian Prime, but if Impact has
Solarian
that
Prime
sort
could kill him.
Yeah.
My eyes for vengeance.
But if Impact has that sort of time, then he's got time to play the masks and the fireballs and
Sure.
so on.
Well, Solarian Prime could do it all at once.
That is true. Like, so yes, it changes things a bit. It gives him a bit more chance, for sure. Feels like Impact's trying to get this font to do something, but...
Jandis?
Yeah, if you're going this way, you have to go with Jandis, right? I'm not sure he even spent the mana. Maybe he's got nothing else to do this turn with the mana in his head. He's just looking at Combustion Fireball Face, maybe. It's going to be toss, okay.
Yeah, but all of these things just feel like delaying the inevitable of him dying.
Right. Yeah, I think I'd have been pointing things at the face a lot more here and probably losing a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I mean...
I mean, doesn't matter. He's just looking for... Yep, just looking for card draw. Just trying to find Il'gynoth before Solarian Prime has a chance to kill him.
And it should get rolling now. It's hard to miss twice. It does miss twice. He's only got 9 cards left.
I mean,
and...
yeah, even if it's the last card in his deck, I still think he wins.
So do I, yeah. Unless it's literally... I mean, I could probably organise them. So Chaos Strike was next to last, and Skull is next to last, or the other way around, probably. And maybe there's a way he loses then. But yeah, he's just got... half his deck is card draw, and the other half is... fluff, I guess.
He's just going to try and use these pretty useless spells in hand to let Mask deal the maximum amount of damage.
Yeah. And he's not even close to lethal next turn.
Throwglaive is not card draw or Il'gynoth. But he's still got an Eldrazi Warblades to get some more incremental healing.
Yeah, you can play the Fell Screamer now as well, I think.
Well, I think he's worried about...
number 2.
Yeah, I think he's still worried about Mirror Entity.
Okay.
Yeah. This gives him a nice for IB. That's why he didn't play Raging Fellscreamer last turn, I think.
Yep.
So now Impact is even further away, because that's heal back up to 30. Now he's got even more turns. So I feel like it's got to be like Solarium off the top and
now it has
wacky stuff.
Yep, we need nonsense now if we're Impact fans. Just crazy things to happen. I can't think of a Jandis that would do it. No, you're crazy, but not...
Oh, okay. He hit Incanter's Flow. We're good.
Yep. Turns out that Flow on turn 10 only reduces you for 15 mana in your deck, not 26, so...
Well, no, because some of those are minions.
Good point. It's a really good point.
I will crush your...
All right, put another one in the deck.
Yeah, why not? Rain Freeze your own minion, right? No? I guess you can't let the Moog live. Good point.
All right, there's Il'gynoth. We can stop the charades.
Yep, it's over, finally. This was a bit of a torturous one. NoHands takes a 2-1 lead, and Impact, who is bottom of the league. NoHands is top of the league. They look like they're going to stay in those positions, but Impact still has what I think is the most powerful deck in the game still to come.
Yeah, referring to Priest.
I like Priest.
Yep, Priest is good. It feels like a one-card matchup, though, when you're referring to Priest versus OTK Demon Hunter, where you're really only looking for Mindrender or Lucia, especially if you don't play Insights in the deck, which he does not. Many players have cut insights to make room for Giants and Devouring Plague and whatnot, that Giants package, but I mean, as soon as you saw, like, up until turn 5 or turn 6, Impact really not having much to do, especially, like, no encounters flow, card draw, but not even any hand space to utilize card draw, like, because of all the expensive minions that he got from the first Vaunted Power. Just a tough game overall. And again, he used up all of his encounters flows in that first Mage game that he played in the series. So of course the game's not going to give him more. You got 3 of them.
He got 4.
And now the Mage is eliminated
as well. Like he got that 4th one.
Sure.
So he can't
sure,
complain.
but I'm talking about, you know, pre-turn 4. He played 3 encounters flows before turn 4. That's how insane it was.
It was actually completely ridiculous. So yeah. And the weird thing here with the Elucia, it's hard to stress enough how much of a one-card matchup it is. The Priest can exert no... I guess there's the Flesh Giants in this version. I guess an 8/8 is irritating, but how do you even activate it? How do you get the cost down? You just don't. We won't see No Hands chipping away for 1 until he can chip away for a 4 or 6, I should imagine. And Impact just has to find Elucia, and there's not much else to say about it.Maybe he can get some Draconic Studies and play some big dragons early, but
yeah,
Elucia.
Even then, you usually can't put enough pressure to stop them if since they really have all the time in the world to curate their hand and try and get max amount of card draw. So we'll see. And again, a full mull for Impact. All 3 of his pretty much in the series, he's full mulling. With Weapon Rogue, he was full mulling for Weapon. With Mage, he's full mulling for Encounters Flow, and now with Priest, he's full mulling for Mind Render Lucia.
Just look at this hand if you're not playing its Demon Hunter. Like, against any other deck, you just go, yeah, look at my hand, I win this game of Hearthstone, look how good it is.
Yep.
And in this one, it's like, oh, my 2/3 is just not getting there, is it? It's not getting me over the line.
Well, they can find, like, insights.
Yeah, okay. Good effort.
Solid.
He's looking. Do you agree with this, or would you want to make a first?
No, I'd probably do this.
Okay.
Get something on board, force him to kill it. Oh, and he's going to kill it. Let's go a little bit in an awkward position, though.
Yeah, when Il'gynoth is on the... It's a blocker, right? You can't play Skull on Il'gynoth on that turn unless you know your last 3 cards or something and you've got 10 mana.
Yeah.
So that Skull, you have to work from the right, and that just doesn't end well. It doesn't work.
You don't pick the ones.
You very rarely get there. You just wait for the next Skull is usually what happens. You try. You've got to pay a lip service, but then in a minute a Moarg or something will come along and it will just stop you from doing it.
How many matchups do you choose Brightwing over Plague Protodrake? Not many, but this is one of them, because Brightwing is another way that you can get Mind Render or Lucia.
Yep. Oh my.
We are friends now.
Let's see.
Hit it. Oh, so far away.
Another Brightwing? No, that's Dormu. I mean, Dormu is large.
That's a better rogue card than he drew in game 1.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, No Hands' Skull is in turmoil here. This never gets played for... I mean, he might just cast it at some point, but that isn't actually that good in this particular deck because you're trying to empty hand space a lot of the time. Trying to find the chain of thought that gets this to Elucia. It is insight nearly every time you're looking for now.
He gets to play an 8/8 next turn. That is the bright side of this current situation. For Impact Star Student Selena, he's going to look for Mind Render, make sure it's not in the hand. He only gets to see 3 cards. None of them are Mind Render, so...
I was surprised how long that decision took him, actually. I thought it was like, yeah, you take Selena, so I wonder what he was thinking about the other 2. Now you don't know. Is it there? Is it not there? Oh, am I going to get wrecked by a Mind Render, or am I just going to be safe?
That's also not Mind Render.
It's not, but this is Nosdomo, the Please Will You Play It As Well. The eternally lonely card, because nobody else ever actually cues it into you.
The skull is in the most awkward position in the history of awkwardly positioned skulls.
Yeah, that skull is donezo. It's not coming back. This is just an illusion, this Arcanist.
I bet you can do this.
Give it up, No Hands. Give it up. Not the game, but the skull. Just give up the dream. It's not happening for you.
You can still draw a skull off the top.
Yeah, that's the key, right? Is to keep his hand nice and tidy for when he does eventually draw it or fetch it.
I have a poison.
That is... No, I got a poison! Ooh!
If only he had had that in game 1 at the end.
Oh, you know what would be cool? Is if he drew Mind Render, because then he could get Aldraki Warblades.
Ooh. That'd be good.
Alas, poor war.
No Hands had enough. He's going to look for the other skull.
Hits Mini Skull.
And now he's got to dump something.
He can literally dump anything he wants. Probably Moarg.
Demons. Demons.
Yeah, they're oddly dumpable.
That's not a Mind Render.
It looks like it. I read meh and thought it was like Soul Mind Render for a moment.
Okay. Okay.
I see.
19 cards left, 1 Mind Render. Sounds like a bad reality show. No Hand's trying to make space so he can play the skull next turn.
Yeah, the awkward part here for No Hands is also going to be he has 0 discounted combo pieces. So he's actually going to need a little help.
Yeah, that actually, okay, that's worth noting. If this next skull misses, but it probably won't, then yeah, he is going to have to find a way to do it over 2 turns, but he will eventually get to play the Fell Screamer, which will sort it out. Yeah. That's why that you play one of that card. It's the only one of that is endorsed by Sottle in all of Hearthstone.
Oh! Oh!
Go!
Look at it!
It's a 360!
Look at it!
Oh.
So this is... not enough. Because he could go Il'gynoth, Moarg, Fell Screen Blast on the 3/6. and then Talented Arcanist, Fellscreen Blast on his own minions. It's not enough.
Imagine in the future when like aliens have landed and they're going through the archives, and these are the only 2 decks they discover. They will wonder what on earth this game is. Like, why are all these other cards in this priest deck that aren't a Mindrender?
Yeah, because that's what they're going to be worried about. Hearthstone decks.
What do you think they'll be worried about? Because that's what I'd be worried about if I was an alien and discovered Hearthstone.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I mean, trying to judge the intelligence of the society you discovered, and you find this game. How do you? What's your conclusion?
Yeah, and I believe that was the last turn Impact could have drawn a Lucia, because I think that No Hands has an exact 30. Il'gynoth, Moarg, Talented Arcanist, Ethereal Aug Merchant, Fellscreen Blast, that is 24. And then the Hero Power deals the extra 6.
Yep.
Right? Because that's 6, 7, 8, 9.
As long as you've got the mana for it.
Yeah, he does. That's exactly 10 mana.
Yeah.
Because, so yeah, just to double check, Il'gynoth, Moarg, Talented Arcanist, Ethereal Aug Merchant, Fellscreen Blast now has base damage 4, gets doubled, so that's 24. And then Hero Power gets the damage blades plus the attack, which doubles up.
There's this. What did he do? Nothing. That's fine.
Yep. Or actually,
3-1
lethal, right? Because
yeah,
he
found.
Yeah, had lethal without the I-beam though. He had exactly 30 without the I-beam. But the I-beam just made it that much bigger of a lethal, I guess. And that's going to do it. No Hands takes the series, and again, feels like a rough one from Impact, right? Yeah. He's playing, I mean, I hate to boil it down to this, but he plays 3 one-card decks, right? He plays Weapon Rogue, which you're full mulling for a weapon. He's playing Spell Mage, which you're full mulling for a character flow, and he's playing Priest, at least in this specific matchup where you're full mulling and just trying to hit Mind Render. And if you hit those things, you're very likely to win in pretty much any of the matchups that he was going to play this series. And if you don't hit it, you're probably going to lose in many of the matchups that you're going to play this series. Yep. And he hit it in one game. He won